You're watching our live and continuing coverage of the Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry elections. We're going across live now to Tamil Nadu where Jayalalitha, the Chief Minister, is coming out to vote. These are live images coming in. Remember, she's facing a tough battle. There are charges of corruption, there are charges of ill health, as a consequence of which she is under pressure. Make no mistake about it. And Tamil Nadu generally has seen a cycle where parties have been voted out after being in power for 5 years. Will that trend reverse? Jayalalitha very clearly there, Mr. Srinivasan, we can see difficulties in walking. If you see, she's barely being able to walk, and her health or her ill health has been one of the primary issues in this election. Also given the fact that there is no backup. There is Jayalalitha, and that's the AIADMK.
Yeah, it's a one-woman party rather. In Uttar Pradesh, like you have Mulayam Singh's party, of course, he has brought in his son. So it's a one-woman party there, and there is no successor there. And between her and there is no cadre also, which you can visibly see. It's all whatever she says and whatever she does. That's the situation in Tamil Nadu.
This is a big moment. I want to go across to T.S. Sudhira, editor South. Jayalalitha, in these images, she's having to hold on to the vehicle. She's hardly able to walk. Now, if you're a prospective voter in Tamil Nadu and you're seeing your Chief Minister struggle to go out and even cast her vote, no wonder she's missing in action for so long. This would be a major concern for voters in the state, would it not, Sudhir?
Absolutely, it would be a concern as we are bringing you live images of the Chief Minister Jayalalitha, the AIADMK Supremo, along with her friend and confidant Shashikala, getting into the vehicle. She just cast her vote in the Thousand Lights constituency here in Chennai, getting into the vehicle.
Give me a moment, let's see if we can listen to what she's saying. Viewers, though, that there's only Jaya TV there. All the other cameras were turfed out, so all those mics there were just with Jaya TV. Very obediently, they put their camera out. She said what she had to, no questions were asked, and then the Queen is marching on. Go ahead, Sudhir.
Absolutely. In fact, there is one side which is completely barricaded, all the media put in one side. On the other side, there is only Jaya TV which is allowed inside. So that is the only TV channel which has access to Jayalalitha. Jayalalitha, in fact, has just left in her vehicle from this polling booth at the Stella Maris College. But you are talking about the health concern. Yes, it does remain a concern, but then it is not something which is really spoken about during the election campaign. It is really not seen as something very nice to say. Also, juxtapose it with the 93-year-old Karunanidhi, who is also wheelchair bound. So in that sense, neither of the two Dravidian parties really talk about the health issues of either of the two Chief Ministerial candidates, Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi. But yes, as far as the voters are concerned, it will be a matter of concern. Also given the fact that Jayalalitha is not really seen too much in the public domain. She doesn't really travel much out of Chennai. She doesn't really travel out in the districts, and that is something which Stalin in particular has been hammering at during his entire election campaign, that here you have a Chief Minister who is not accessible, who doesn't come to meet you for your issues. And even during the election campaign, she was traveling by helicopter, and that entire two-tier system where she was seated in an air-conditioned box on the top, and then there are all the MLA candidates who she would be introducing in the second tier, and the sweltering masses out in the hot sun hasn't really gone down in terms of a good PR exercise, in terms of sending the right images across. She has come across as someone who's really not very sensitive to the needs. So this, coupled with what has happened during the election campaign, may cost the AIADMK some votes, but yes, they are still hoping that the freebie scheme, the welfare agenda that the AIADMK has unleashed during the last 5 years and in this manifesto will fetch them the votes in this election in 2016.
V. Raghav, how much of a concern is it for the voters of Tamil Nadu that their Chief Minister isn't in the pink of health? In these images also, she's having to hold on to the vehicle so that she can get into it. She's walking and she's very clearly struggling as she walks. Is that an issue, or as Sudhir says, given that Karunanidhi also is as old as he is, therefore health cannot be a big political issue at least?
This is a state where youth wing president of the DMK, the man who was in charge of the youth wing of the DMK at one point of time, was 60 years of age. This is a state which has seen nothing but Karunanidhi versus Jayalalitha. As I was hearing Sudhir point out, the most energetic in this campaign has been MK Stalin. He's been going down voter by voter, district by district, constituency by constituency, has travelled a lot. But when the choice is between Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi, I don't think health and issues of this nature really are a matter of voter concern. The point is that there has been a dramatic change in the way Jayalalitha has approached this election and this last term as Chief Minister. Every time she's been Chief Minister, whether it was 91 to 96 or 2001 to 2006, she has handed over an election with an issue to the opposition with her own decisions. It was the government employees' protest in 2004. It was her corruption charges in 96. But this time, it's been a far more tempered government as far as she's concerned. And in terms of choice of candidates also, remember that this is possibly one of the first times that Jayalalitha has accommodated even those within the party who she had thrown out, like C. Ponnayan. She's allowed him to contest. There have been several other examples of this nature. So there's been a far more tempered politician as far as Jayalalitha is concerned in the last tenure and this election. And well, for the DMK side, there is of course MK Stalin with all the energy. And let's not forget that ultimately, when it comes to the voter mindset, it's a battle between Karunanidhi and Jayalalitha. That's the way the state is conditioned to see over the last 25 years, since 89. And it's difficult for that to change. And that's possibly why even a third alternative in the voter imagination as a viable alternative becomes difficult, because there's no other personality who's Jayalalitha.
But Sumant Raman, does the AIADMK hypothetically have a succession plan in place? Because we saw O. Pannirselvam serve as Chief Minister when Jayalalitha was not allowed to. He wasn't even willing to sit on a seat. He wanted to leave that seat empty for Jayalalitha, so nobody thought he was sitting where Jayalalitha usually sits. Now, given that kind of a mindset and given Jayalalitha's current health condition, you have a real problem on your hands.
No, I clearly agree. There is no second line of leadership. In fact, AIADMK ministers routinely appear on television channels and say that their party has only one leader and there is no second rung leadership in the party. They are very open about it. They say that we are all party workers and there is only one leader in the party. So clearly there is no question of any officially anointed successor or succession plan in place. Having said that, as far as I just want to make one point to what was said earlier about this her accommodating the leaders with whom who had fallen out of favor with her. Now, many of these candidates who have sort of quote unquote fallen out of favor with her have actually been shifted, have been made to shift constituencies and take on DMK heavyweights. So, in a sense, some of them are perceived as having been thrown to the wolves, as it were. So, while she has not denied them seats, she's allowed them tickets, she's given them tickets, and then she's changed their constituencies and made them take on DMK heavyweights. Mr. Ponnayan, for instance, is taking on the extremely popular former mayor of Chennai, M. Subramaniam in Saidapet. And one Sendil Balaji, who was removed as a minister, has been shifted constituencies. He takes on a DMK heavyweight. Of course, the election has been postponed in that constituency. So many of the candidates whom she who people felt had fallen out of favor with her, they've been given tickets, but they have been shifted out. And yes, there is no massive, for instance, 96 was clear cut. I mean, there was a kind of revulsion amongst the people with what they saw as massive corruption, and so they wanted the government thrown out, and we saw what kind of a mandate the DMK got in 96. But on this occasion, there does not seem to be that level of anti-incumbency, and some of these welfare schemes seem to have reached many households. And that is why this becomes a different election from possibly what we have seen in the last 20 years.
No, but there is a real problem. So you're spending money on welfare and you're constantly increasing your welfare fund, and at the same time you're saying you want to introduce prohibition, and about 30,000 crore rupees come from alcohol and all the Tasmac shops. So if you introduce prohibition and you continue spending, you're basically taking the state to financial ruin, Mr. Srinivasan.
Yeah, true. See, if you look at the budget of Tamil Nadu, it's about 1,70,000 crore, 75,000 crore budget. Out of that, 66,000 crore goes in subsidies. Now, all subsidies are not bad.
The budget.
Yeah, all subsidies are not bad. I'm not saying that. Some subsidies are really good. For instance, giving cycles or sanitary napkin to girls, that would increase enrollment in schools. Those kind of things are well. But what about things like Mixi? What about giving
Mangalsutras?
Mangalsutra, she has actually, she had given in an earlier regime 4 grams. Now she had doubled it to 8 grams. Now it really doesn't make any sense. In fact, it may, for some analysts say that it may actually lead to more dowry seeking, because you already have 8 grams. Give me more. That's what somebody could say. So actually these things haven't worked out, but the issue is really different. You know, you saw the images of Jayalalitha walking with great difficulty. You know, even that sends a message. This would not have been possible a few years ago. The media has opened up, the social media has come in, there is a 1.4 crores of younger voters. So therefore, there is a silver lining here. The scenario on the whole in Tamil Nadu is changing, but slowly.
But the choice still remains between Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi, and that's a problem. I want to go across to Akshayanath, because before this we've seen Karunanidhi go out and vote. We've also seen Kamal Hassan go out and vote. We've seen Rajnikant go out and vote. Akshayanath, tell us, what do you see around you in terms of the voting percentage and the level of enthusiasm amongst the voters of Tamil Nadu?
Rahul, as of 9 a.m., there's already been 18.3% vote share in the state, which is almost like 6% increase from what we had seen in the 2014 Lok Sabha elections. This shows the kind of enthusiasm that people are having in the state for voting, and also, with the election having a multi-cornered fight, it clearly shows what the people are thinking about. Both the Dravidian leaders, Karunanidhi and Jayalalitha, are aging, and you like how you saw, Jayalalitha is like struggling to walk, and at the same time Karunanidhi is already in his wheelchair, but still there are a lot of people still supporting the two Dravidian leaders. But the question is, will they be able to make it to the finishing line and succeed? And secondly, it is seen that close to 1 lakh or more voters are between the age group of 18 and 29, which means very young voters, many first time voters, and they will have a very crucial role to play when it comes to the decision factor on the May 19th. Rahul, it is also seen that many aged people in wheelchairs, in walking sticks, walking into the polling booths to just cast their vote, and this is something that is not being seen so predominantly in Tamil Nadu, where the voting percentage has not gone above 80% till date.